shoot, I forgot a drink. I guess I'll do this video without a drink. Do you like my costume? Hat, hoodie, gym shorts, socks. Oh, feet look really big in that video. Anyways, it's kind of chilly in here. So I thought I'd put on a costume. Costumes are great. I wanted to talk about the benefits of unforgiveness, the benefits of holding a grudge, the benefits of not forgiving. You know, I was thinking of some things I had to work through in these past couple years, and how it's taken a couple of years of daily hacking away out of it at several different angles. The angles of just making oodles and oodles of variations and what the possible meaning of forgiveness is, hacking on that for several months, and then basically just wringing it worth everything it could possibly get out of it, wringing it for every drop, and then moving on to some other things, looking at reconciliation, what that could be. It's like, no, not even close. Can't even touch that stuff. Hacked away on it anyway. Hacked away on several more months of reasons to forgive. The why. They say if you got the why to why you want to do something, if you got enough whys to it, it makes it a lot stronger or more solid or whatever, and you can do it, and it can pull you through the hard times or whatever. If you got a strong enough why or enough quality whys. Nope, still couldn't surmount that shit. And this was a fun paper I got into. This one got pretty deep, and it seemed like that one. Actually, this was actually a roadblock. Once I got into this, I think I was only in this not even a month. And what this was mindsets to make my mind open-minded. Ways of being open-minded. And of course, I flesh these things out with AI. AI's great stuff. And the way this thing goes, I think there's about 200 articles here. One of it is what it is, open-mindedness, and then what it does, what it is, 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 what it does, what it is. Anyways, and so on and so forth. Open-mindedness, trying to break my mind open so it would be, a little more malleable, pliable, a little more not so hard as a stone. And then after that, then started really accelerating, and this is where it got really cool. Then it came into this. This is 101 reasons what unforgiveness is. See that how I switched from what forgiveness is and reconciliation is, and looked at, and so I couldn't get nowhere with it. I mean, a lot of praying and my version of praying and meditation on it. I mean, daily. for over a couple of years, right out a couple of years. Still couldn't break it loose. Still couldn't get it done, and I knew it needed to be done. Because at this point, I know the psychological facilities of the human psyche has to process things out into a forgiveness. And maybe not to reconcile with the person or people or whatever, but at least to reconcile with oneself. That is not an option. But anyways, once I got into this right here, starting to look at what unforgiveness is, that right there really started wrapping things up. And I knew I was onto something there. And then I did another paper, and I asked myself this question one day after looking at that, and I thought, why would someone want to hold on to unforgiveness? And then also, the next question is why would somebody want to hold someone in contempt or hold them in forgiveness when you know for a fact that a reconciliation is attainable and relatively easy, but still hold them in unforgiveness? Why would you do that? And then that was a pretty short paper right there. That was pretty short. That was real goddamn short. I think I worked on that about 2 days. And then another revelation kicked in. This paper came about. This happy little paper right here. This is what took the icing off the cake. This is the straw that broke the camel's back. And this is what it is. This is, let's see, how many? Somewhere around 150, 180, something like that. I don't know. I'd have to count them out, number them out. But these are a little under 200 things that unforgiveness does. Let me say that again. This is cool. You like this? I know you do. A couple hundred things of what unforgiveness does. The benefits of holding on to unforgiveness. The benefits of not forgiving. You want to talk about making yourself feel stupid? Well, let's try. Let's try some out. We're not going to go through too many of them. Matter of fact, let's just go enough. Let's just do enough to where we just feel absolutely stupid for ever holding on to any forgiveness ever about anything for any reason, even if it's something that is unforgivable, unacceptable. Let me take off my costume. Shit. It's getting crazy up in here. Oh my God. All right. Here's some benefits of not forgiving. By not forgiving, it stunts personal growth. That's number one. Oh my God, isn't that a wonderful benefit? You know, we could flesh that out and put some reasons to why it does that. I mean, if you had to. But there's almost 200 of these in here. And this will be done, something like that, soon. I don't know. I'm not sure how. But just this by itself is highly effective. I'm serious. Let's just walk through it. Let's let the paper speak for itself. You'll see how stupid unforgiveness is. All right. It stops healing and prevents closure. Those are benefits of unforgiveness. Oh my God, stop laughing, straighten up. All right. And let's see, here's another one. Unforgiveness prevents empathy and understanding. It prevents understanding. Let's see what else unforgiveness does. Holding on to grudges actually brings about a negative impact on mental health. Unforgiveness will block your self-forgiveness. Unforgiveness will actually block or stunt or stop a compassionate mindset. Unforgiveness will block the way forward, but it will provide a way forward with a lot of emotional baggage. Unforgiveness hinders a peaceful and harmonious environment. Unforgiveness is not emotional intelligence. That's a good one right there. Let's see. Unforgiveness increases stress, and it promotes an overall, how should we word this? And it promotes an overall toxic life. Unforgiveness weakens all social bonds. Unforgiveness cultivates a sense of inner turmoil. Unforgiveness is a sign of emotional immaturity. Let's say that again. Unforgiveness is a sign of emotional immaturity. Really. Unforgiveness closes the door for future positive interactions in so many ways. Unforgiveness keeps the cycle of resentment going. Unforgiveness dampens or breaks a sense of community and connection. It promotes isolation. Unforgiveness promotes isolation. It fosters isolation. Unforgiveness is an act of weakness. Unforgiveness is an investment in one's own misery. Unforgiveness blocks empathy towards others' mistakes and one's own. Unforgiveness promotes a sense of slavery. Unforgiveness does not demonstrate the ability to rise above negativity. Unforgiveness sets an example for others in a bad way. Unforgiveness is a source of personal disempowerment. Unforgiveness breaks down effective communication in all relationships. Unforgiveness zaps mental and emotional energy. See, we're not even 30 reasons into it of what unforgiveness is. I mean, as you read through it, you can just see. I mean, without even explaining each one, these are just surface level, just surface. This is just surface, shallow. This is shallow level right here. To expound on it and to go a little bit deeper, it'll make you feel real stupid about unforgiveness. Just right there, scratching at the surface of unforgiveness, of the benefits of unforgiveness. Anyways, the thing about unforgiveness makes it so difficult. It's got to be worked on. It's got to be worked on. I mean, like, what if somebody murdered one of your loved ones? What if somebody killed one of your loved ones and got away with it? What if someone betrayed you and it really, really messed up your life, your money, your reputation? No matter how you slice it, unforgiveness is straight up victim mentality. But you know, none of us are built to where we can just be like, okay, I'll just forgive it, because that's who we are. That's how I am. I'm such a forgiving person. Yeah, maybe a little shit. Basic stuff. We all are. Try dealing with something that's sinister, that's straight up sinister, something evil, something malevolent. What's the word? Malevolent touch your life. And that does manifest. It really does. I mean, I don't want to get into any kind of religion or anything like that, but life will turn toxic. It turns toxic. And there's absence of any real connection for a person, and they stay that way too long. And then life happens and they can't handle it because they're too weak, because they haven't had those kind of social connections or any kind of family connections or whatever. And next thing you know, they get that victim mentality going. Once they got that going, the bases are loaded even more. Let a big ticket item happen in their life. A big tragedy. Tragedies happen to all of us. None of us are exempt. We're all guaranteed to experience tragedy. Guaranteed. In this lifetime. Guaranteed. And if that happens, not if, but when, then the person is faced with a couple of different roads to take. They can either become devious, defiant, and become those, I would say those are probably the best words for it. But think about this, the kind of person that would be a corrupt official, that would frame other people up that were a threat to them, or seemed to be a threat to them, to their wrongdoings and to their shady ways, yet they do, and then they would frame other people up and have them locked up or whatever and make them look like the bad guy when they're doing all those things and beyond. Have something like that touch your life. Then are you going to be able to forgive? You're going to be so forgiving then? You're going to be so forgiveness preachy then? But yet, None of us really see it coming. None of us do. None of us do. And it can come in so many different ways. One of my unforgivenesses that was so difficult to deal with, like what I was talking about. It's like the more I did the soul searching on myself, from all the way from early childhood, as far back as I could remember, like 2 years old, 3 years old, all the way up, and did a very extensive introspection and knowing a little bit about how the human psyche develops or doesn't develop, and the basic functions of the mental disorders and emotional disorders. And once your eyes are open to those kind of things, there is a revengeful type spirit that comes about. It's like, wow, you freaking ruined my whole life. See, there's that kind too. But it's like you got to pass through it. If you want to change, you got to pass through it. You got to walk right through the middle of the shit. You have to. You got to. Let's say if you was like brought up a certain way and you were told this variation of what love was or whatever, and what so-called right and wrong was, to come to find out that it was all wrong, that none of it benefited you at all. It was all bullshit. And yet, those kind of things happen in life. But for the most part, when those things like that happen, it's so difficult to deal with, and it takes so much work, psychological, emotional, and literally effort, physical effort, to work through those things and to reconstruct one's own heart and mind, that most people turn back. They go back into some kind of delusional, sentimental delusions of it can be sickening. It really is. Anyways, besides all the gloom and doom of life, the benefits of unforgiveness. You know, somebody needs to write a book called The Benefits of Unforgiveness. So page by page, word by word, sentence by sentence, paragraph by paragraph, a person can read it and they can feel dumber and stupider for ever allowing any unforgiveness in their life, no matter what it is. See, the crazy thing is we think we don't allow unforgiveness, but yet we do it all the time. If we don't know about what reconciliation is and self-reconciliation is, there's a good chance we don't know a whole lot about forgiveness of what it is and what it does, and how forgiveness, self-forgiveness, self-reconciliation, those two things right there are not optional. They are not optional. And yet we do that shit all the time. All the freaking time, man. All the goddamn time. It's insane. It's insane. We're such an intelligent species on this planet, and yet it's like we don't even know how to drive our own brain, we don't even know how to manage our own psyche for the most part. It does have some dark humor to it if you think about it, because see, unforgiveness is nature's tool. It's like an off switch for trust. It's like once unforgiveness kicks in, or resentment, or a grudge, That's like something kicks in the brain, and then the heart, it naturally flips a switch. It's like, hey, something's wrong here. Stop everything. Stop everything. And figure out what the hell's going on. And see, that's what it does. But the thing is where most of us go is like when that kicks in, we just leave it that way. And the best we do is we say, oh, well, it's in the past. It's in the past. It's in the past. Just saying, forget it, forget it, forget it. Let it go, let it go, let it go. And then try to force ourselves not to be bad, not to be hurt, not to be betrayed, not to be devastated. It's very similar to most of us. We're so caught up in our own little matrix thingy in our mind that we don't know the difference between excuses and reasons. See, we think we have reasons for can't. And when I say that word, can't, it comes about through our actions and through our daily lives. And the way we're living. See, we think we have reasons when they're really excuses. See, we don't know. We basically don't know the difference between reasons and excuses. We think we have plausible reasons, justified reasons for can't. And yet, all they are is excuses. Most of it stemmed out of pride and ego, from what I believe, from one man's point of view. I'm sure there's many other points of view. From what I see, a lot of it's pride. It's like if you let them off the hook, then that makes you look weak because you let them win. At least if you hate them, you're not letting them win. But is that a reason or an excuse? Or is that just a quagmire in the human psyche of that emergency shutoff switch where it called an all stop on everything until you could figure it out, and then never figured it out, never put things into proper context, never forgave yourself, never reconciled yourself with yourself to yourself. See, that right there, that's key. And it is not optional. Reconciliation with the transgressor or the person or people that betrayed you or whatever, that is optional. You don't have to reconcile with them. You don't have to let them back into your life. You don't have to allow it, even if it could. You don't have to reconcile with them, even if it is plausible and can be done. You do not. But to forgive them is to go through many variations and definitions of your own makings of what it is, in order to get that to break loose enough to where you can actually see that it's you that you are holding in unforgiveness. It's you that you're mad at for that happening to you. It is you that needs to be reconciled to yourself in order to get that forgiveness thing going. See, it's an illusion. It's an illusion. It looks like you're needing to forgive them. And it's like the ego holds that unforgiveness so strongly that what the ego says is like, nope, don't do it, don't do it. It's like, no, that's weakness, that's sickness. It's like, no, you don't forgive that. Nope, you gotta hate them. You gotta make sure that anything that comes up about them or anything that you gotta express that hate. Yep. But that's the trap. That's the toxic thing. That's the thing right there. That's the jumping off place. That's the pivot point. That's the leverage of where it is actually the place where it's the self-forgiveness that is of utmost importance. And then as soon as that is seen, and as soon as that is comprehended, then it's the self-reconciliation that comes in. And that self-reconciliation could be just a few simple acts. And by putting yourself in the same scenario, the same kind of like exposure therapy, like what they call in psychology, very similar to that. And except do it a little bit better this time. And you'll get self-reconciliation pretty easy. From what I see, it's getting over that hard part. The rest of it comes easy. It's like once it's fully prepped, it's in the preparation that is so freaking difficult. That's where all that work is at. And if you can prep the job good enough, it's like when you go to put it together, bam, 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 it comes together real fast. And then you have a really solid structure. So the call to action is ask yourself, are you living in victim mentality in any area of your life? Any area at all. And what I mean by victim mentality is if there's any use of any blame, any use of any fault finding for reasons why your life is messed up and you can't take ownership of it to correct it. Is there any places like that? Is there any places where you accept these reasons because you don't know that they're excuses so that you can live in victim mentality? So ask yourself, is there any area at all that I'm living in a victim mentality to where I'm thinking I'm a victim? And where the victim is the only thing they can do is they can't fix anything. They can't make anything right. The only thing that they can do is hold hate. That's victim mentality. Anyways, besides all the gloom and doom, that is well over 15 minutes. This is 33 minutes and 38 seconds. Damn. Get a little bit chatty. All right. Have good. See you in the funny papers.